Ah, life lesson. Neat.
The fuck you say to me, you little shit!
Hey, you remember American Pie, right? That zany teen comedy from the early 2000s that caused the wave of horrible teen films that have plagued us for the last 20 years. Well, it's back with a brand new direct-DVD movie because, Universal, they just gotta hold on to the rights of those IPs that bring in a whopping $50 a year.
Still a bestseller.
So this year they rolled out Girls Rules with an all-female cast, and it kinda sucked. Trust me, I know I'm not the target demographic. But that's also comparing it to the 4 other spin-offs in this series. So let's talk about this one. The plot is a rehash / slight alteration of the plot of the very first American Pie, which for those of you that don't know is about a group of guys in their senior year of high school who made a pact to lose their virginity by prom night, and hilarity ensues. Whereas Girls Rule is about a group of girls in their senior year of high school who make a pact to find not shitty dudes to date by their homecoming. Which isn't all that original. But at the same time, most of the target audience of this movie has more than likely never seen the original, so I guess it kinda gets a pass. And the movie starts with our main character Annie sneaking into her boyfriend's room to give him a special going away gift before he leaves for college, if you know what I mean. And the movie keeps in tune with other entries in the series of it turning into an embarrassing failure. But I will also admit, she did all this in heels, and that's kind of impressive. I've never walked in heels, but I've heard it's difficult. We're then introduced to the rest of the cast, including Kayla, whose whole character is being mentally abusive to a guy. We'll come back to that later. Michelle, the smart girl who's really into JFK. Like, really into him. And Stifler, who's probably the best you could have gotten when trying to take the frat douche Stifler characters are written as and turn into a female. I mean it when I say that. The next 5 minutes is spent with very little character development and the starting of the pact with its rules, and it's jarring when compared to the first movie in the series that has not only a similar plot, but the same amount of runtime, that they were able to fit a decent amount of character development and actual catalyst that makes them make a pact. Compared to this where it's just, oh, here are all of our unique and different characters. Here's them all in a scene together. Okay, now here's the thing, they'll set the rest of the movie in motion, with absolutely no build up to any of it. Michelle then gets introduced to Grant, the male love interest, and conflict of the movie amongst the girls, so the next 10 minutes is dedicated to all of them meeting Grant in different ways. Oh, and also Danny Trejo's in this movie, but they couldn't afford to have him actually speak. I'm not even kidding. He's mentioned in the credits, but doesn't say a single word in the entire movie. But before Annie can meet Grant, Michelle takes her to a sex shop to help her with finding a special toy while they're hassled by this creepy woman who won't stop bothering them, only for the bait and switch of, you'll never see her again. Only it turned out that she's not only Annie's new neighbor, but Grant's mom and the new principal. But it doesn't work because we find out all of this in the very next scene, and it's like really badly paced. And while all that's going on, Annie is trying out the vibrating underwear she bought, those things douche tubers use for clickbait videos. And we get this scene that goes on for way too long with, the underwear is the butt of the joke because awkward situation equals comedy. And because this movie has no breaks, we're then introduced to the next guy, who I swear is Bionic Pig. Nothing you can say will convince me otherwise. And yes, he is important because Stifler goes to Pig hoping he can help her hook up with Grant with the ending of this beyond obvious, but more importantly, this dude can't act to save his life. And 2, this is one of the worst shot things I've ever seen in my life. You can tell each camera transition is a different take that they just mash together, and there's like 30 cuts in this thing for no reason whatsoever. It's really painful to fucking watch. And since this movie's too lazy to commit to character development, we just get a montage, and right afterwards, probably the best scene of the movie, where Stifler's in Pig's room, seeing all the nerdy stuff and the pictures of them as kids, and it's actually pretty well done, but because it's the only scene that doesn't exist for the sake of a joke or padding, hell, someone more competent than me could probably write a whole movie based off of what we see in this one scene, but whatever, we'll just take the rest of the shitstorm and run with it. On a whim, because absolutely no one saw this coming, Annie decides to go see her boyfriend in college, and surprise, surprise, he's cheating. Who didn't see that coming? And all the while that's going on, Kayla admits to her ex, his name's Tim by the way, that she still has feelings and wants to be more than fuck buddies. When he says no, she claims to deserve better than leaves. That is pure bullshit. Ladies, this woman is a perfect example of what not to do in a relationship. Since the beginning of this movie, she has invaded his personal space, lied about him having an STD,
She told my mom, and now my mom thinks I have syphilis.
used another guy as an object to make him jealous,
That guy. That's Grant. My friend. My special friend.
said fuck Grant's personal space, and even laughed about sneaking into his room
His privacy! Yeah, just guard the stairs, nerds. Okay.
to take pictures just to fuck with Tim again. This entire movie is nothing but her mentally abusing this dude. But it's played off for laughs, like we should laugh and it's okay. We should be okay with this behavior. No, none of that's okay. And you're a shitty person. Anyway, the big party at the end of the movie, it's all to seduce Dude Man, which goes exactly how you'd expect. But it also ends with Grant realizing all of these people are fucking psychopaths. But it doesn't really matter because there's only 15 minutes left in the movie, so they gotta do the grand gesture, and everyone lives happily ever after. The end. Honestly, this movie was really bad. Like, really bad. It suffers from bad acting,
My friend is surrounded by a bunch of college thoughts, and I'm the only 17-year-old virgin in history!
teenagers written by old dudes, one of which wrote Kindergarten Cop 2, yes that's a thing, one-dimensional, unlikable characters, terrible pacing. This movie is an hour and a half long, but by the end of it, you feel like it's only been 30 minutes, which could be good or bad depending on how you see it, but it really gives the movie no breathing room or allows characters to develop past what we're shown at the start. It just rushes from scene with bad joke to scene with bad joke until the end. While we're on the subject of the jokes, this movie's just not funny. There were maybe 2 jokes worth of chuckle in the entire thing. They were both at the end. Outside of those, it's nothing but either forced jokes with little to no setup, or just not funny lines. Overall, this whole movie was just unnecessary. It only exists so Universal can keep the rights to the franchise. There's absolutely no other reason why American Pie would be slapped on the name of this movie. You could remove this scene that's from like 15 minutes in where they make the pact, and nothing about the movie changes. But that's not even the biggest issue. The biggest issue with this movie is it doesn't have Eugene Levy in it. The guy who's been in every single one of these movies and has been like a moral compass, dad advice giving character. But none of that is in this. So it just kind of sucks more without him. I already had low expectations going into this thing. Somehow they went lower than what I expected. But like I said, I know I'm not the target demographic of this movie. And you may be sitting there thinking, oh Toast, you're being misogynistic or nitpicky or you're an asshole. And I thought, that might be the case. So I went and I rewatched what I personally think is the best of the American Pie spin-offs, Beta House. And it was fucking terrible also. It suffered from all of the same problems. Poorly made movie, which just goes to show that Universal needs to stop making pointless sequels for its franchise. It didn't work over a decade ago. It doesn't work now. Just shelve the movie until you decide to do your inevitable reboot, which shouldn't be a thing in the first place either. But, I mean, what do I know? I'm just a guy who watches movies. Overall, just avoid this thing like the plague. Just, if you're gonna watch any of the movies in the series, watch like the first 3. They're the only decent ones. Hey everyone, if you made it this far, I hope you really enjoyed the video and the change up I did with Toasty's look. As well, please leave a like and comment, or even subscribe if you really want to see the other stuff I put out. I hope you have a good day. Bye bye.